everyone, welcome back to the Grown Up Millennial. My most popular video by far on this channel is my $20 grocery budget video, and one of the most requested videos I have on that video is a food prep video. So where I give you guys a sense of, once I've bought all my groceries pretty cheaply, what do I do with it? I'm not presenting any particular recipes, just bought my groceries today. I'm going to show you a little bit of my thought process, some things that I do to save money, reduce waste, and just how I go about prepping my food in general to make sure that I'm eating relatively healthy throughout the week. So this is not a particular plan, there's no recipes for you here. This is just to give you a sense of my thought process and hopefully give you some tips that you may find helpful in the future. So here's just a quick look at what we bought. I know you'll be interested. So this was about $27, $28 grocery haul. You see it's mostly fruits and vegetables. The reason it's pretty expensive, 27 is pretty high for me, is some big ticket items like Parmesan cheese and the milk. We don't buy a ton of that. We buy it pretty occasionally. But the rest of these, they're $1 or $2 per item. Oh, and the Cheez-Its. So this is of course not everything that we're eating this week. We have a bunch of stuff in the pantry. This is just going to sort of supplement. And some of our plans for this is we're going to be making a soup, like a big vegetable soup that we're going to have a couple nights this week, salad, and some mac and cheese. So what we have here essentially looks like a bag of trash, and I'm going to unpack it so you can see it a little bit better, and we'll talk about what I am actually using this for. So this is the top layer of my bag. You can probably see a little bit better now. We've got pretty much celery, carrots, carrot peelings, as well as little bits of onion and onion skin. And these are just scraps from when I'm cooking, and what we're going to do with this is we're going to boil it and make it into a veggie broth for our soup. So that's a really good way to make double use of the veggies that you're buying. Make sure you're not wasting too much, and you saw how full that bag was. That was part of what made me think, oh, you know what? We should be making soup this week. So took that big bag of veggies, poured it into a big stock pot, cover it with water. The bag was pretty full, so I couldn't totally cover it or it would be totally full. But you can see there's a lot of water in there. And just gonna turn on the heat medium-high, let that come to a boil, and then I'm gonna bring it down to a simmer and just let it simmer for about a half hour. And the reason I'm doing this first is because it's gonna take a while, but isn't going to require a ton of my attention, so at least this is going on in the background while I'm doing things that require a little bit more of my effort. So now that we have the thing that's going to take the longest, the vegetable broth, going there on the stove, the progression is to move on to the thing that's going to take the second longest, and then the third longest, and then the fourth longest. So that's how you're really going to be able to time everything, where you can get a lot done in just an hour or two of prep. So really think about that timing before you jump into cooking. It might be tempting to pick the thing that you want to do the most, or maybe you're really hungry and the thing that'll be done fastest, but then you just end up spending a ton more time prepping and cooking. And in our case, the thing that's going to take the second longest is going to be the mac and cheese, so that's what we're going to start prepping right now. So back to this idea of multitasking. We have the pasta for the mac and cheese already boiling or getting ready to boil on the stove. So while that's happening, we're going to be doing the rest of the prep work. So again, it's this idea of timing. Cooking, if it's not really your thing, a couple hours of really focused work where you get a lot of food is better than dragging it out over a longer period of time. So with that being said, we're going to shred the cheese. I said this wasn't going to be about recipes, but it's turning into a cooking show. If you eat cheese, you should pretty much always be buying it in the actual blocks. We got cheddar here, Parmesan here, and not in those pre-shredded bags. First reason is that the blocks are almost always cheaper. You get more for them, so you get more cheese in the blocks for the same price or lower price than you would for a bag of pre-shredded cheese. But also you can sort of control how much cheese you're actually getting. And finally, those pre-shredded cheeses always have this like white powder on them to keep them from sticking, but that means they don't melt very well. As a cheese lover, something that always makes me really depressed is when I won't use up a whole block of cheese in time before it molds. So you can actually freeze a lot of cheeses, particularly if they're the harder, fattier cheeses like cheddar or mozzarella. And sometimes I'll even pre-shred them and freeze them in a jar. Caveat, if you do that, you want to freeze it out on a baking sheet so that they don't all stick together. and then put it into a jar. Don't stick it all in the jar and then freeze it, because then it forms a block that you can't get undone. Learn from personal experience. So this will sometimes happen when you're cooking, as is the case here. Despite my timing, I have, my cheese and my milk and my flour prepped to make the mac and cheese, but the actual macaroni is still boiling, so I can't really move on in that regard until it's done. So use these little bits of time to get smaller things done or do dishes and clean up as you go. But you definitely want to, again, take advantage of every bit of time that you have so everything goes a lot faster and you end up with a lot of food, a clean kitchen, and nothing to worry about. Okay, so we have the mac and cheese in the oven. The vegetable broth is getting pretty close to being done. And I unfortunately only have 20 minutes before I have to finish up, hop in the shower, and then head out to go visit my parents. So while I'm not going to be able to show you the whole soup making, I just want to finish out what my thought process is for the rest of this. Like I said, the idea is to prep as much as you can. So I know we're going to be having salads along with our soup, so I'm going to be cutting up vegetables, cleaning the lettuce, making my boyfriend's favorite dressing. Pretty much anything that I can cut, clean, slice, drain, etc. without reducing its quality or flavor by the time it has to be eaten, I'm going to be doing that right now. Now you might be wondering, why did I decide to make what I made? The mac and cheese, vegetable soup, salad. And the idea is it was based on stuff I already had. If you check out my grocery shopping video, you'll see I talk about shopping your pantry first and then only filling in what you don't already have. So in this case, before I went shopping, I noticed I had a bunch of leftover black beans from lunches last week. I had breadcrumbs, pasta, cheese, but I was really, really low on vegetables. But we also have a ton of lettuce growing in the backyard. So I knew, okay, gotta do something with the lettuce or it's gonna go bad, gonna do salads. Don't want the black beans to go to waste, but I know we're kind of getting bored of the whole rice and beans or Mexican type food, so I thought, okay, I need a bunch of vegetables anyways, I'm gonna be having salad. Let's throw that into a soup. I noticed I had my big bag of trimmings and such from the vegetables that I would normally use for soup anyways. That was already full, so I thought, need to use that up because I don't have any more space to save any other trimmings I make, so I'll use that. So that's really the idea, is just using what you have already and then filling in a little bit at the grocery store, which is why I'm able to feed the two of us all week for less than $30 on this particular trip. Less than 20 on some others, but it was 27 bucks this time. But mostly vegetables because that's really all I needed this time around. Okay, and this is the result of just a little bit of time cooked. We've got pretty much everything I need to make the soup. I've got all my vegetables cut up. I've got my broth, so I can just throw this in, throw a few spices, let it simmer. I'll be good. Big old thing of mac and cheese. We've got iced coffee ready to go for breakfast. We've got dressing in the fridge as well as a couple other cut up vegetables in preparation for our salads as well. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope you found these tips helpful. Please hit the subscribe button below as well as drop a comment. What are some tips you have whenever you're doing any sort of food prep? Thanks again so much for watching. I'll see y'all next time. Did you record that?
Oh, it's still on.
Is it on?
Now, if you pan right on over here.
Hi, Ted, you gonna help? He's not gonna help.